Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Project Kickoff meeting. This is the first Project Kickoff meeting we're having in 2020. My name is Elizabeth. I happen to be the project supervisor. I am just going to take today to give you a background on this project we're talking about. But before I go, kindly permit me to walk you through the slides that I have here. Firstly, we will be looking at the content that we're going to discuss in today's meeting. We have the introduction, we have the agenda, the background, we have the approach, the project time frame, key interaction questions, and suggestions if need be at the end of the meeting. And like I said, firstly, I would like to introduce everyone around here and introduce everyone to everyone in the meeting. Like I said earlier, my name is Elizabeth Thigbank. I happen to be the project supervisor for this new project we are working on transportation and logistics. And this project is actually made up of a team member of five, which I happen to make up the five. And I would just love to call up the names so you get acquainted with each of the team members here. I have Larry Sweat, he's a risk analyst with BNY Mellon. I have Tosin Shinsanya, an IT audit BNY Mellon. Faith Lawson, financial analyst, and Blessing Teresa, logistics with BNY Mellon. Also, I would love to use this platform to recognize the individuals that had to take their time to make sure that they attended this meeting. We really appreciate your presence here. And this goes to Dr. Ben Foster, CEO BNY Mellon, Miles Arlington, the CFO BNY Mellon, Dixon Robert, consultant, Graham Consulting. He's been consulting for so many logistics company and happens to own his own consulting firm called Graham Consulting. Lambert Tunison, logistics engineer with Red Coach. Detrin Thompson, he's a logistic manager with Greyhound Lines. And we have Joyce Adams, is a RICS. She happens to be the RICS asset manager with BNY Mellon. And like I said, I'm just going to walk you through this slide and give you um, a little brief or summary on what we're talking about. I know I don't really have much time as I have less than 10 minutes here. So, firstly, it's more of the meeting agenda, and we're also going to talk about this objective of this project. Like I said, this project happens to be transportation and logistics. What are we doing here? We're trying to see how we can bring a new product to an existing market. Now, what are we doing? We're trying to see how we could give credit to these transport companies and also own our transport companies. It's more of diversifying, our scope to enhance, you understand, market shares, you could say. So the objective of this is actually to aim at creating guidelines and approval framework for facility loan structuring and creation of exposure to players in the transport industry. Like I said, this is more about trying to see how we could give credit to these existing transporters, transport companies, so they can, broaden their um, their they could end up, broadening their scope and increasing their route. Do you understand? And also, this is to predetermine the operational criteria and terms and conditions for practitioners. So I'm just going to walk us through the next slide, which happens to be the project background. If you remember, I said earlier that this is actually trying to see how we could bring in a new product to an existing market, And also, we're just trying to look out for operation strategy and marketing strategies to see how we can actually, you know, actualize this. So based on this, what we were carrying out our analysis, there's some factors we had to consider in the conception of this project because it's very vital. We have to know those challenges that we'll have to face. Firstly, had to do with maintenance cost. We had to, put that into perspective, license and toll fees, fees for drivers development training, certification from drivers on development training, the best insurance, business permit and licenses for logistic companies, and who are our competitors. And that is very, very important. You want to know who your competitors are, and I think that's you know important. So now this is more of an overview of critical elements in the sector that we have to look for. This is like more of the approach, things that we need to warrant to give you that particular credit or that particular loan. Firstly, it has to do with the age of the asset. That's very, excuse me, That's very, very important. Preference is actually given to a brand new asset, that we know that depreciation has not set in. So, you could give preference to that. And also, we're looking at the asset type. And in this asset type, we're looking at it must be purchased from an accredited a legal dealer. And also, the facility tenure, it must be more than 4 years for truck or for trucks with valid contract, and the facility tenure must not exceed a tenure that is more than 3 months to the expiration of the contract. And also, we have to look at things also as collateral. So in the collateral, we had to say that it's asset to be financed. So you need also the asset to be financed in this one. And also the insurance, it's paramount. We have to also consider that the insurance company, and it has to be, a comprehensive insurance that would take care of everything, be it natural disaster, and collusion and all that. And also for the driver, we would want a minimum experience of at least not less than 5 years, with a proven track record, no accident, no drunk driving and all that. So these are like part of the things we had to put in place. Like I said, this is a work in progress. So with time, while we have to go into this, we will have to update more things. That this was just like a piece, because this is the first meeting, so this is like a piece of it that we had to bring into the system. And this project time frame, so we just had to give a date because, like I said, paperwork and assessments and all that, it's going to come a long way. It might take probably a long time. But I just, my team, we just had to give or take a 365 days, which happens to be a 1 year, to see how it goes. But like I said, and you see it written on the slides, that they are actually paperwork and approvals that need to be carried out. And also there are, agreement that has to be drafted and has to be reviewed and redrafted, to make sure that both sides or both parties are actually being fairly considered in this agreement or in this contract that we're going to have. So give or take, I'm just going to put it like here, 65 days. So also basically on this meeting, how are you guys going to get updates? What is going to be, the communication system and everything. We'll try to, send an email or communicate frequently, as soon as there's an update or anything. Now, there would also be a meeting twice every week. I really, really, really plead that we try as much as possible to make this paramount and take our calendars for this. So we will have a meeting twice every week to communicate the progress. And at every point, if there's a particular task, we will try to, make it known to the team if this task has been accomplished. Like I was saying, if you go back to the other slides I talked about, on the approach, I told you that this elements we actually did added are still a work in progress. There are other things we still will have to add. So bringing me back to this slide, so if there are other tasks we have to complete or anything that we have to add to it or update, we're going to let the team know via email. And also, if we have setbacks or anything, we're going to discuss it in our next meeting. Like I said, meeting will be held twice every week, and we're going to discuss this in our next meeting so that suggestions would be open, and we could take opinions and suggestions and work on it. So I know also that there are times you would want to talk to a particular person based on this. I'm sorry to take you out of there. The times you want to talk to a particular person based on this. So we have two persons that would, be readily available to answer your questions, give you update, on things and how far we are going with this project. First of all, happens to be my humble self, Elizabeth Ebank, Communications, and I'll be here there to respond. If it's something I can't give you an answer ASAP, I'll just tell you to give me a time and I will come back to you. And also, we have the logistics. Blessing Teresa happens to be in charge of logistics, and she's going to give you information on all the logistics update, transportation and all that. And also, the next meeting will actually be conveyed via email to everyone. I just want to use this medium to thank you all for attending this first meeting. And I know this is a work in progress, and I know with time we're actually going to actualize this. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for coming for this meeting. Have a good day, and bye bye.